News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Ed Kalegi. U.S. Airlines again canceled more than 1,000 flights Saturday, the second day of the Federal Aviation Administration's order to reduce air traffic because of the government shutdown. So far, the slowdown at many of the nation's busiest airports has not caused widespread disruptions, but it has deepened the impact felt by what is now the nation's longest federal shutdown. Analysts warn that the upheaval will intensify and be felt far beyond air travel if the cancellations pick up and move closer to the Thanksgiving holiday. Pfizer agreed to buy Metsera for up to $10 billion, prevailing over Novo Nordisk in a tumultuous bidding war after U.S. regulatory opposition thwarted the Danish drug maker's rival bid for the obesity drug startup. Pfizer raised its offer to as much as $86.25 a share, matching a revised bid from Novo on November 6th. The U.S. company agreed to pay $65.60 a share in cash and up to $20.65 a share contingent on certain milestones. In a statement Saturday, Novo said that after careful consideration, it does not intend to increase its offer, adding that it believes that the structure of its merger deal was compliant with antitrust laws. The statement continued that Novo will continue to assess opportunities for business development and acquisitions that meet its criteria for returns and capital allocation and that further its strategic objectives. Senate Majority Leader John Thune says Democrats' one-year Affordable Care Act subsidy extension offer to end the government shutdown is a non-starter.
Republicans are not about to further burden taxpayers by blindly extending a flawed program. The Democrats' proposal is just more of the same, masking rising premiums and padding insurance companies' profits with more taxpayer dollars.
The Senate is expected to work this weekend in an attempt to make progress in resolving the stalemate over the government shutdown. President Trump's plan to deploy the National Guard to Portland, Oregon to quell protests against his immigration crackdown was permanently blocked by a U.S. judge, handing him a major loss in his bid to send troops to Democratic-led cities. A judge who oversaw a trial last month agreed with city and state officials on Friday that the protests had been largely peaceful since a spate of violence in early June and did not require the intervention of troops. The suit was filed in September to block Trump's planned deployment of 200 Oregon National Guard troops over the objection of the governor. The U.S. Supreme Court let the Trump administration for now withhold $4 billion in SNAP food aid that a judge had ordered distributed Friday to fully fund November benefits for 42 million people. The administrative stay issued Friday night by Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson is designed to give a federal appeals court more time to consider the government's request for a longer-term order, letting it avoid making the payment. The administration has said it would provide partial funding, but U.S. District Judge John McConnell in Rhode Island said that was inadequate because the complexities of partial payments meant the money might not become available to SNAP recipients this week. UPS and FedEx are grounding part of its fleet following a deadly plane crash. Bloomberg's Monica Ricks has details.
Both UPS and FedEx are grounding their MD-11 fleets on Boeing's recommendations as the company helps the FAA review a cargo plane crash that killed more than a dozen people this week in Louisville, Kentucky. The groundings affect 9% of UPS's fleet and about 4% for FedEx. The MD-11 was manufactured by McDonnell Douglas, which Boeing took over in 1997. The company's working on an engineering analysis on the MD-11 that went down, and the feds are using recovered cockpit voice and flight data recorders to determine a cause. Monica Ricks, Bloomberg Radio.
Farm aid is still on the table even after trade wins in the Trump administration. Bloomberg's Amy Morris explains.
New international soybean sales are a boon for farmers, but farmers also lost an estimated $5.7 billion worth of soybean exports to China alone this year. And Republicans from farm states say the Trump administration still needs to send producers economic bailouts. The Agriculture Department can send direct payments to farmers affected by the Trump tariffs. Senate Agriculture Chair Republican John Boozman says he's also working closely with the USDA to decide who qualifies. But a multi-billion-dollar farm aid package has been held up by the government shutdown. In Washington, Amy Morris, Bloomberg Radio.
That's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Ed Kalegi. This is Bloomberg.